Good evening, everyone. My name is Tiana, and tonight I'm going to be talking about my favorite type of gel pen. So I'm a huge stationery hoarder. I love all sorts of pens and markers and pencils and notebooks and all that stuff. So I thought it would be fun to rate some gel pens and determine which one is my favorite. So let's just get right into it. So my rating scale, my criteria for this evaluation, we've got 6 different categories, and each of those categories will have a possible score out of 10 points for a total of 60. And then with that, there will be some additional, bonus points added or points taken away for things outside of those 6 categories. That will be a case-by-case basis, and we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. The categories are the smudge test, the classic. We're going to give it 5 seconds to dry and then run our finger across it and see if it smudges or not. We're going to do a highlighter test with black ink and a highlighter test with colored ink. So each of those will be 10 points. And that is going to be that same thing. We're going to wait, 5 seconds to let it fully dry, go over it with a highlighter, see if it smears or not. We're going to look at the smoothness. So how easy does it write? How does it glide across the paper? Gel pens sometimes have different thicknesses of ink in them, so that can affect how well they write. They might be really juicy, which means that they kind of almost gob onto the paper, like it's a lot thicker, like it's sitting on top of the paper versus like soaking in. You might get things like railroading, where the ink is so thick that it's causing the ball to get stuck, and it makes like a white line that separates your pen strokes. Does it skip? Different things like that. So that'll be kind of what we're looking at for smoothness. We're going to go with the next category is the variety of colors. So is there a lot to choose from? Is there not enough to choose from? From there, we're going to look at the overall design of the pen itself. So is it comfortable to hold? Does the color of the pen match what the color of the ink is? Is it aesthetically pleasing? Is it comfortable? Things like that. And then if there's any alibis, bonus points or points taken away, then from there we'll go into that. I did swatch all these ahead of time, so I'm going to put those in the slides as well as hold them up to the camera to see if, hopefully you can see what I'm seeing. And yeah, let's get in. Okay, so first things first, we are going to look at the Pentel Matte Hop pens. These are a stick style gel pen, as you can see, no clicker, just a cap. They come in 3 different sets of 7 for a total of 21 colors. I lost one of the boxes. Sorry. And I got a couple duplicates. So they're fun. They've got this little pop art thing going on. Pretty basic pen as far as, what they look like. So the swatches. Move my keyboard here. The picture I'll get into in just a second. So here is, what some of those colors look like. All right, and now let's get into the scoring. So the smudge test, clearly you can see that was abysmal. 5 out of 10, not very good. But even worse is our highlighter test. 2 out of 10, lots of smearing from that black pen. The colored pen didn't fare much better. It was a little bit better, but still only a 4. Overall smoothness, we're going to give a 6. So these are a juicier pen, so you can see that some of them, it looks like it went on pretty smooth, but then with these other colors, we're getting that railroading. So the ink is thick or the ball gets stuck, and it just kind of really throws off how nice the pen looks. And you can kind of see that in some of our swatches as well, where it just was like, it was almost like the ink didn't want to come out. Overall color variety, we're going to give it 10 out of 10. 21 colors isn't bad. The overall design of the pen, we're going to give it a 7. They're not the most comfortable to hold because they are a stick pen. They're a little skinny. They kind of feel like they slide around your hand a little bit. They look cool. They're aesthetically pleasing, but from that comfort aspect of the design leaves something to be desired. And then lastly, we are going to give 2 bonus points for the uniqueness of these. If you look closely, you can see it's almost like they stick, like they're sitting on the paper versus like soaking in with this matte effect. If you feel it, it almost feels like a paint. But what is extra cool about them is that they're made to be able to write on photos. So I attached this little Z ink printed photo of my youngest puppy, and it dries on there fully and just kind of rests on top almost like a paint marker does. So that gives it a total score of 36 out of 60. And now we'll move on to the next one. All right, next we're going to move on to the Bic Gelocity Quick Dry Pens. As you can see, we have 17 colors. I believe that is all the colors they offered. I did a lot of digging because as soon as I tried these pens for the first time, I fell in love with them. So I had to have every color. So we'll take a look here. First thing I want to mention about these, one of my favorite things about them is the smoothness. They write super well, super pretty. But with that, we'll just get right into the rating. So smudge test is a 9 out of 10. And honestly, that little bit right there broke my heart. I loved these pens so much. I think it's just, again, that little bit of a thicker ink takes a little longer to dry. I think if I had waited maybe 7-8 seconds instead of the 5-second standard that we set, I don't think that we would have had smudging at all. And I think they still do dry pretty quick, but for a quick dry pen, you'd think 5 seconds would be sufficient. So I did have to score down for that. The highlighter test, the black, not as good as I hoped. You kind of hope with something being quick dry, that means it wouldn't smudge, but unfortunately, we did get that little bit of streaking that followed with the black. With the color pen, we didn't really get it. The overlap you see is more from the highlighter itself than the color. So that did get a 10 out of 10. Smoothness, 10 out of 10. Like I was saying, these, it's like if you could write with butter, you're writing with butter. They're super nice. Love how these feel when you're writing. You don't get any skipping, any resistance. They're just gliding across the paper. Color variety, 10 out of 10. 17 is a good amount. I mean, you've got, these 17 different colors, but you really hit, all the big markers. I think if I were to request another color, I think like a burgundy or like another shade of red would really wrap this up. But other than that, I mean, you have a couple of each, which is really, what you hope for. I think a nice, like a dark scarlet or burgundy would really kind of bring this up to another level even. Design, we're going to do 10 out of 10. So I think these pens, they look good, very clear what color they are. They feel great in the hand. They've got this nice soft grip. They don't feel like they're slipping around. They're not too thick. And just overall, I really like them. They're comfortable to hold. Not too bulky. I got little hands. Overall, I like it. These ones specifically are getting an extra 2 points for Bic's customer support. So the pack I initially bought, so it's a 16 pack. It does not come with a black pen. I had to buy the black pens separately, which seems kind of silly. There are some multi-packs that include a black, but the one that gives you like the full rainbow doesn't include a black. So that was separate. So the original pack was a 16 pack. However, when I got it, I got a couple of duplicates. So I got 2 of these. I got 2 sky blues right here. And I got 2 of this like yellow green. It looks gold on the barrel, but it shows up more of like a yellow green right here. So I got 2 of these instead of a red and the dark purple. So I was missing these in the initial pack. However, I went through Amazon and got routed to their website for like a customer support ticket where you just, fill out your information and it sends you an email, whatever. And I just explained, I ordered this multi-pack. It gave me a couple of duplicates. Is there any way to order individual colors? Because like I said, I liked these so much, I would have bought the individual pens just to have the full set. And they just immediately were like, nope, don't worry about it. We're going to mail you the 2 pens are missing. So these actually just arrived in the mail for me. I got them, I had drill this weekend. I got them when I came home Sunday. So like super awesome customer service, no questions asked, just like sent them out in the mail literally the next day. So just bonus points for that, because I feel like sometimes, we all know how dealing with customer service can be sometimes. So it was just really nice that they were so responsive so quickly. So with that, they get a 58.5 out of 60. Last but most certainly not least, we are going to be looking at the Pentel Energel Curo pens. So they look like this. The biggest pack I found you can get is a pack of 24. So lots of good color variety. You can kind of see. These have something really interesting about them that I'm going to get into at the end when we get to like that bonus point criteria. So let's just move into the ratings. So smudge test, 10 out of 10. Beautiful, dried quick, no mess, no fuss. Love it, love it, love it. Highlighter test. So for the black, we're going to get a 10 out of 10. Again, that overlap you're seeing is coming from my highlighter itself, doubling on itself. There was no smudging. There was a little bit with the blue, though, unfortunately. You can kind of see it. It could be that it was a fluke and I just didn't wait long enough to let it dry, because I also was using like the lightest highlighter possible because I really wanted to test these. So that's kind of what that asterisk is there for. So I'm doing 8 out of 10 for that. It is possible that if I had let it sit a couple seconds longer, it wouldn't have smudged. But overall, still great. Smoothness, 10 out of 10. These are another pen that is just butter smooth. It just feels like it is floating across the paper super nicely. Color variety, 10 out of 10. Love it. It's got that extra shade of red like I was talking about. The oranges, the yellows, multiple greens, multiple purples. My favorite color. Couple shades of brown. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Design, 10 out of 10. So what I like about these is, obviously they're colorful. You have that pop of color, but it also has this like sleek, like office ready look, right? Like I felt like if I was going to a big meeting, but I still wanted to have my colored, purple pen, right? I could be, rocking a women's power suit and blazer with this pen, and nobody would know that I was having fun with it, right? Because it just looks sleek, professional, almost like a minimalist design, but it's also still comfortable to hold. It doesn't slip out of the hand. It's not too wide. They're not particularly noisy. Some pens are like super noisy. So again, with that like professional thing, if you're writing a lot of notes, you don't want your pens to make a ton of noise. So again, 10 out of 10 for design. These get 3 bonus points, and they get 3 bonus points for something I've never seen before in my stationery hoarding years, and that is that it comes with multiple shades of black. So of course there's this traditional black, and then there's this crimson, this Bordeaux, like a blue black, this olive black that has this green hue to it, and then a charcoal black that's like this nice grayish black. And I just think that's really interesting because I personally have never seen that before. And as somebody who like compulsively likes to color code notes, it's really cool that like if I'm doing a red notes day, I can use my crimson black pen. Or like, if I'm doing warm colors, I can use that versus cool colors where I might use one of these two. I just thought it was really interesting. These overall, since I got them, I've only had them a couple weeks actually. These quickly became my favorite pen. I think it was going to be a toss-up between the Gelosity and these. These are both relatively new to me, but these just take the cake, and it has a lot to do with these shades of black. You can buy the shades of black specifically by itself. There's a pack on Amazon. It's literally called Shades of Black, and it comes with the traditional black and then these 4 other ones. So the overall score for these ones is a 61 out of 60 because of those bonus points. I will clarify, I did not intend to go over 60 when I was picking my, I'm not going to say arbitrary, because I did want to give extreme kudos for the shades of black, but I didn't necessarily intend to go over 60. I am also just bad at math. So there you have it. In my opinion, the best gel pen is the Pentel Energel Hero. You can get so many different colors. You can get those multiple shades of black. If you're looking for a new pen, I highly recommend checking them out, giving them a shot. I did find the shades of black in stores, so you can buy them in, stores like Walmart, or you can, of course, order them on Amazon. Like, you can find everything. Thank you so much for checking out my evaluation, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it inspired you, and I hope you have a great night. Thank you.